The rain hit the windows of the Geneva Diplomatic Building like small bullets. Ambassador Sarah Chun sat at her desk, reading through boring trade reports when her secure phone buzzed. The caller ID showed only numbers she did not recognize. Chun. Here, she answered. Heavy breathing came through the line. Then a weak voice spoke in broken English. Ambassador Chun, I need help. They will kill me soon. I have information about your people, about the murders. Sarah sat up straight. Who? Is this? What murders? My name is Vextar. I am was part of the council. Meet me at the old cathedral near your building. Come alone. Trust no one else. They have eyes everywhere. The line went dead. Sarah stared at the phone. The Galactic Council had made contact with Earth only 5 years ago. They seemed friendly enough, offering trade and basic technology. But something about this call made her stomach feel cold. She grabbed her coat and walked through the rain to the old cathedral. The building was dark and empty. Her footsteps echoed on the stone floor. Then she saw him. The alien sat in the last row of wooden seats. At first, he looked human. But as Sarah got closer, she saw the truth. His skin was too pale, almost blue. His eyes were larger than they should be. Blood ran from a wound in his chest, staining his human clothes. You came, he said, his voice getting weaker. Good. There is not much time. Sarah sat down next to him. What happened to you? I tried to leave the program. They do not allow that. Vextar coughed, and more blood came up. For 800 years, we have been on your world, not as friends, as hunters. Hunters? We call it the silent harvest. Your people have such potential, such dangerous potential. So we kill the ones who might help you grow too strong. He pulled out a small device that glowed with soft blue light. Scientists, engineers, military leaders, anyone who might help. Humans reach for the stars. Sarah felt sick. You're saying aliens have been murdering people on Earth? Not aliens. We look like you. We live among you. We are called Voidwalkers. Vextar's breathing got harder. Dr. Peterson, the nuclear engineer who died in that car crash last month. Dr. Kim, the physicist who had that heart attack. Colonel Brooks, who fell down those stairs. All of them were killed by my kind. The names hit Sarah like punches. She had known Dr. Peterson personally. He was working on clean fusion energy. Dr. Kim was close to a breakthrough in faster-than-light travel theory. Colonel Brooks was developing new defense systems. How many of you are there? On Earth, over 200. Some have been here for decades. They have families, jobs, friends. No one knows what they really are. Vextar pressed the glowing device into Sarah's hands. This contains all their names, locations, and current identities. Everything I could steal before they found me. Sarah looked at the device. It was warm and hummed with energy. Why are you telling me this? Why help us? Because I have lived among humans for 30 years. I have watched you. You are not the monsters the Council says you are. You care for each other. You protect the weak. You never give up. More blood came from his mouth. My kind. We only know fear and control. We fear what you will become if you are allowed to grow. What will we become? Vextar smiled, showing teeth that were too sharp. Free. And that scares them more than anything. A sound came from outside. Footsteps on wet stone. Vextar grabbed Sarah's arm with surprising strength. They have found me. You must go. Use the back door. Tell your people the truth. The harvest must end, or your species dies in darkness. His grip got weaker. But be careful. Some of them are in your own government. Trust no one until you can test them. How do I test them? The device will show you. It can detect our true nature. But Sarah ... He was fading fast now. When you fight them, remember this. We are strong, but you are something we never expected. What's that? Unpredictable. The front door of the cathedral opened. 3 figures in dark coats walked in. They looked human, but they moved wrong. Too smooth. Too quiet. Sarah ran for the back door as the figures reached Vextar. She heard him speak one last time, but not in English. The words sounded like wind through broken glass. Then she heard a sound like electricity, and everything went quiet. She made it to her car and drove back to the diplomatic building. Her hands shook as she held the steering wheel. In her pocket, the alien device felt warm against her leg. Back. In her office, Sarah locked the door and pulled out the device. When she touched it, words appeared in the air above it, written in light. The language looked strange, but somehow she could read it. The list was long. Names, addresses, jobs, and something called infiltration dates. Some of the dates went back 50 years. Some of these aliens had been living as humans since before Sarah was born. She recognized more names. Senator Williams, who always voted against space program funding. Dr. Martinez, head of the International Science Foundation, who had been blocking certain research projects. General Thompson, who had been pushing to reduce military technology development. All of them were aliens. All of them were working to keep humanity weak. Sarah read more. The device showed her how to detect voidwalkers. They gave off a certain type of energy that normal humans could not see. But with the right equipment, they would show up like bright lights in the dark. She also learned about their abilities. They could change their shape to look exactly like any human. They were stronger and faster than normal people. But they had weaknesses too. They could not handle certain frequencies of sound. And they had trouble with something called quantum signatures. As Sarah read, she began to understand the truth. Humanity was in a cage. Every time humans tried to advance, every time they got close to real breakthroughs, the Voidwalkers would kill the people responsible. They had been doing this for centuries. But now Sarah knew. And if she was careful, if she was smart, she could do something about it. She picked up her secure phone and dialed a number she had memorized years ago. It rang twice before someone answered. Marcus Webb here. Captain Webb was someone Sarah trusted. They had worked together on several missions. He was smart, tough, and most importantly, he had been in military service since before first contact with the Council. If anyone was clean, it would be him. Marcus, I need to see you. Tonight, bring your team, but tell no one else where you're going. Sarah? What's wrong? You sound scared. I am scared. And after you hear what I have to tell you, you will be too. 3 hours later, Captain Webb and his team sat in Sarah's secure conference room. She had told them everything. Shown them the device. Explained about the Voidwalkers and the Silent Harvest. Webb was the first to speak. If this is true, we're at war. We've been at war for 800 years, and we never knew it. It's true, Sarah said, and now they know that we know. That. Alien Vextar, he's dead. They'll realize their list has been stolen. They might speed up their operations. Sergeant Mills, Webb's second in command, studied the alien device. How do we fight something that can look like anyone? Sarah touched the device again. New information appeared in the light above it. We learn. We adapt. We hunt them down one by one. She looked around the room at the faces of the 6 soldiers. But first, we need to make sure we can trust each other. This device can test us. If any of us are Voidwalkers, we'll know right. Now, the testing took an hour. All of them were human. Real human. As they planned their next moves, Sarah thought about Vextar as last words. The aliens thought humans were predictable. They thought they knew how humans would react to everything. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Captain Webb and his team spent 3 days building special scanners based on the alien device. Dr. Emily Rodriguez, a physicist who had survived 2 accidents in the past year, helped them understand the technology. The scanners were small, about the size of a phone, and they could detect the energy that Voidwalkers gave off. Sarah named their group Earthwatch. They worked in secret, using safe houses and coded messages. Their first target was Dr. Martinez, head of the International Science Foundation. According to the alien list, he had been a Voidwalker for 12 years. They watched his house for 2 days. Dr. Martinez looked completely normal. He kissed his wife goodbye in the morning. He played with his children in the yard. He seemed like a perfect human father and husband. But the scanner showed the truth. When Dr. Martinez was alone, a soft blue glow surrounded him on the scanner screen. He was definitely not human. "It's hard to believe," Sergeant Mills whispered as they watched from across the street. "He looks so normal." "That's what makes them dangerous," Sarah replied. "They've had centuries to perfect the act." On the 3rd night, they made their move. Webb's team surrounded the house while Sarah and Dr. Rodriguez waited in the van with the scanning equipment. The plan was simple. Get Dr. Martinez alone and force him to reveal himself. But the Voidwalkers were smarter than they expected. As Webb approached the front door, all the lights in the house went out. The scanner in Sarah's hands started beeping like crazy. Then she saw something that made her blood freeze. Dr. Martinez was standing at his bedroom window. But he was not the same man they had been watching. His skin was darker now, almost black. His eyes glowed with a cold white light, and he was looking right at them. "Webb, get out of there," Sarah shouted into her radio. "He knows." The front door exploded outward. Webb dove to the side as pieces of wood flew past his head. Something came out of the house, but it was not Dr. Martinez anymore. The thing was tall and thin, with arms that were too long for its body. Its skin looked like liquid shadow, moving and shifting in the darkness. Where Dr. Martinez's face had been, there was now something that looked like a skull made of black glass. "What the hell is that?" Mills yelled as he opened fire. The bullets hit the creature, but passed right through it like it was made of smoke. The Voidwalker moved faster than anything human. It reached Mills in 2 jumps and grabbed him by the throat. Mills screamed, but the sound was wrong. It was like the life was being sucked out of him. Webb shot at the creature with a special weapon Dr. Rodriguez had built. This one fired sound waves instead of bullets. The Voidwalker let go of Mills and stumbled backward. Its shadow skin began to bubble and crack. "The sonic weapons work," Webb shouted. "Keep firing." The other team members joined in with their sound. Weapons. The Voidwalker made a noise like breaking glass and tried to run. But more lights came on in houses around the street. People were waking up. "We have to go," Sarah said. "Too many witnesses." The creature disappeared into the night, leaving only a smell like burned metal. Mills was alive but barely conscious. They carried him to the van and drove away. At the safe house, Dr. Rodriguez examined Mills. "He's in shock, but he'll live. Whatever that thing did to him, it was draining his life energy." Sarah looked at the data from their scanners. "We learned something important tonight. They're not just shapeshifters. In their true form, they're something else entirely. Something that feeds on human life." Over the next week, similar attacks happened around the world. In Tokyo, a team of Japanese agents tried to capture a Voidwalker that had been posing as a technology minister. The creature killed 2 agents before escaping. In London, British forces surrounded a Voidwalker scientist, but it somehow called for help. 3 more Voidwalkers appeared and helped it escape. The aliens were fighting back, and they were getting more dangerous. Sarah received reports from other teams. The Voidwalkers were not just running away anymore. They were hunting the humans who hunted them. Dr. Peterson's replacement, a young engineer named David Kim, was found dead in his laboratory. The official report said it was an electrical accident, but the Earthwatch scanner showed traces of Voidwalker energy all over the room. "They're accelerating the harvest," Sarah told Webb during a secure video call. "They know we're onto them, so they're killing targets faster." "How many people have we lost?" Webb asked. Sarah checked her list. "In the past week? 17 scientists, 8 engineers, 4 military officers, and 2 politicians. All of them were working on projects that could advance human technology. We need to hit them harder. Find their base of operations." That's when Dr. Rodriguez made a breakthrough. She had been studying the alien device and found something interesting. "The Voidwalkers are not just scattered around randomly," she explained to the team. "They're connected, like a network." She showed them a map on her computer. Red dots marked where they had detected Voidwalker activity. "Look at the pattern. They're all within a certain distance of these 3 locations." She marked 3 spots on the map. "I think these might be command centers." One location was in Switzerland, near where Sarah had met Vexstar. Another was under the ocean near Iceland. The third was in Antarctica. "Antarctica?" Mills asked. He was better now, but still weak. "What would they want down there?" "Isolation," Sarah said. "Somewhere humans rarely go. Somewhere they could build. Something big without being noticed." Webb studied the map. "If we're going to hit them, we need to do it fast, before they kill more people." They chose the Antarctic location first. Satellite images showed nothing but ice and snow. But the Earthwatch scanners detected massive amounts of Voidwalker energy coming from underground. The team flew to Antarctica in a military transport plane. The cold was brutal, even with their special gear. They landed near the coordinates and set up camp. Dr. Rodriguez's equipment led them to a spot that looked like empty ice. But when they used ground-penetrating radar, they found something huge buried underneath. "It's enormous," Rodriguez whispered, looking at her screens. "Whatever's down there, it's the size of a small city." They found an entrance hidden under a layer of ice. It looked like a metal door, but the metal was black and seemed to absorb light. When Sarah touched it with the alien device, the door opened silently. Inside, the walls glowed with a soft blue light. The air was warm and smelled like ozone. Long corridors stretched in every direction, and they could hear a low humming sound coming from deep within the facility. "This place is old," Webb said, running his hand along the wall. "Really old." They followed the main corridor for what felt like miles. Along the way, they passed rooms filled with strange equipment. Some rooms had what looked like medical tables, but they were stained with something dark. Other rooms had walls covered with screens showing images from around the world. Cities, military bases, research facilities. The Voidwalkers had been watching everything. In one room, they found something that made Sarah sick. Hundreds of files, each one containing detailed information about a human. Photos, personal history, family members, work schedules. And at the bottom of each file, a date marked termination schedule. "They've been planning this for decades," Sarah said, flipping through the files. "Every assassination, every accident. It was all planned in advance." The humming sound got louder as they went deeper. Finally, they reached a huge circular room with a domed ceiling. In the center was a machine that looked like a cross between a computer and a living thing. Cables that pulsed like veins connected it to the walls, and standing around the machine were 12 Voidwalkers in their true forms. They were not trying to look human anymore. They stood like black statues, their skull faces turned toward the humans. "Welcome," one of them said. Its voice echoed in Sarah's mind rather than her ears. "We have been expecting you." Webb raised his sonic weapon, but the Voidwalker raised one long finger. "You cannot fight all of us, Captain Webb. And even if you could, destroying this facility would accomplish nothing. We have others, and we have already sent word to the Council." "What word?" Sarah demanded. The creature's empty eye sockets seemed to focus on her. "That the harvest has failed. That humans have become too dangerous to control. The Council will vote soon. And when they do, your entire species will be eliminated." Sarah felt the alien device grow warm in her pocket. New information was flowing into it. Coordinates, star charts, and something else. A message. "You're wrong about one thing," Sarah said, backing toward the exit with her team. "You think you know humans. You think you understand how we fight. We have studied you for 800 years. But you studied us in a cage. You never saw what we could do when we were really free." Sarah smiled, even though she was terrified. "You're about to find out." The team ran for the exit as alarms began to sound throughout the facility. Behind them, the Voidwalkers gave chase, their forms shifting and flowing like living shadow. They made it to their plane just as the facility began to shake. Dr. Rodriguez had left behind a special bomb, one that would destroy the Voidwalker. Equipment but leave the ice intact. As they flew away, Sarah looked at the new information in the alien device. The message was from other humans scattered across the galaxy. Humans who had been taken by the aliens long ago. Humans who had been waiting centuries for someone to find them. Sarah and her team returned to Earth with shocking news. The alien device now contained messages from humans across the galaxy. Humans who had been taken from Earth hundreds of years ago. Humans who had been waiting for this moment. President Martinez called an emergency meeting in a bunker deep under Washington, D.C. The room was filled with military leaders, scientists, and government officials from around the world. Sarah stood at the front, holding the alien device. "The Voidwalkers have sent word to their council," she announced. "They're planning to destroy all life on Earth, but we're not going to let that happen." General Thompson, who they now knew was human after testing, leaned forward. "What do you mean by humans across the galaxy? How is that possible?" Dr. Rodriguez activated a holographic display using the alien device. Images appeared in the air above the table. Star maps, coordinates, and photos of people who looked human, but were wearing strange clothes and living on alien worlds. For centuries, the Voidwalkers had been taking humans from Earth, Rodriguez explained. Not many, just a few here and there. People who disappeared without a trace. They used them as workers, soldiers, and experiments. One image showed a man in his 50s with scars on his arms. "This is Commander Jackson Cole. His ship disappeared near Bermuda in 1847. He's been fighting aliens for almost 200 years. Another image appeared. A woman with silver hair and strange tattoos. Captain Maria Santos. She vanished during a research expedition in 1923. She now leads a group of human rebels on a planet called Kepler-7. Sarah touched the device again. More images appeared. Dozens of them. Men and women of all ages, all races, all time periods. All human. All alive. All ready to fight. "They've been building an army," Sarah said. "An army of humans who know how to fight aliens. Who know their technology. Who know their weaknesses." President Martinez stood up slowly. "How many?" "Over 50,000, Sarah replied. "Spread across 23 different worlds. And they have ships. Alien ships that they've captured and modified." The room went quiet. Finally, General Thompson spoke. "What do they want from us?" Sarah smiled for the first time in weeks. "They want to come home, and they want to help us fight." But first, they needed to capture a high-ranking Voidwalker, someone with access to the Council's communication systems. The alien device had given them a target, Commander Zactol, who had been living as Professor James Morrison at MIT for 15 years. Webb's team prepared for 3 days. They studied Morrison's schedule, his habits, his security. This time, they would be ready for a fight. Morrison lived alone in a large house near the university. He had no family, which made sense now that they knew the truth. The house was surrounded by a high fence and security cameras. "He knows we're coming," Mills said as they watched the house. "Look at those cameras. They're not normal security cameras." Dr. Rodriguez checked her scanner. "You're right. Those cameras are using alien technology. He's been watching for us." Webb made the decision. "We go in fast and hard. No sneaking around. Rodriguez, can you disable those cameras?" "Give me 5 minutes," she said, pulling out a device that looked like a TV remote. She pointed it at the cameras and pressed several buttons. One by one, the cameras sparked and went dark. The team moved toward the house. But before they reached the front door, Morrison came out to meet them. He was not trying to look human any more. His skin was the same liquid black as the other Voidwalkers. His eyes glowed white in the darkness. But unlike the others, he wore what looked like armor made of the same black material as his skin. "Captain Webb," Morrison said, his voice echoing strangely. "Ambassador Chun, Dr. Rodriguez, you have been busy." "Commander Zactol," Sarah replied. "We know who you are. We know what you've done. Do you?" The creature tilted its head. "Do you know that I have lived among your kind for 15 years? Do you know that I have grown fond of some humans? Fond enough to stop killing us?" Webb asked, his sonic weapon ready. Morrison laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "No, fond enough to make your deaths quick." The fight began without warning. Morrison moved faster than the other Voidwalkers they had faced. He dodged their sonic weapons and struck back with energy that shot from his hands like lightning. Mills was thrown backward into a tree. Rodriguez dove behind a car as energy bolts exploded around her. Webb rolled to the side and kept firing his sonic weapon. But Sarah noticed something. Every time the sonic weapon hit Morrison, he became slightly more solid, more real. The liquid shadow of his skin began to crack and change. "Keep hitting him," she shouted. "The sonic weapons are working, but slowly." The battle lasted for 10 minutes. Morrison was strong and fast, but he was fighting alone. The humans worked as a team, surrounding him and hitting him from all sides with sonic bursts. Finally, Morrison fell to his knees. His shadow skin was cracking like broken glass. Underneath, Sarah could see something that looked almost human. "Enough," Morrison gasped. "I surrender." They tied him up with special cables that Dr. Rodriguez had designed. The cables used the sea, same frequency as their sonic weapons, keeping Morrison weak and unable to change his shape. In the safe house, they put Morrison in a room with walls lined with sonic speakers. Every few seconds, the speakers would send out a burst of sound that kept him from escaping. "Now we talk," Sarah said, sitting across from the captured Voidwalker. Morrison looked more human now, but his eyes still glowed with that cold white light. "What do you want to know?" "How do we contact the Council?" "You cannot. Only commanders like myself have access to the long-range communication systems." Sarah held up the alien device. "Then you're going to help us send them a message." Morrison stared at the device. "Where did you get that?" "Only Council members are supposed to have access to quantum communicators." "A friend gave it to us," Sarah replied, "right before your people killed him." For the first time, Morrison looked worried. "Vexstar. I told the others he was becoming too attached to humans. But they thought they could control him? They were wrong. Just like they're wrong about us. Sarah leaned forward. The council thinks humans are weak, predictable, easy to control. But we're not, are we? Morrison was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke in a voice that sounded almost sad. No, you are not. That is why you must be destroyed. Dr. Rodriguez entered the room carrying a piece of equipment that looked like a metal briefcase. I've built the transmitter. If he cooperates, we can send the message directly to the council's main facility. Morrison looked at the transmitter, then at Sarah. What message? The truth, that humanity knows about the silent harvest, that we've captured one of their commanders, and that we're ready to fight. They will not negotiate, Morrison said. The council does not negotiate with prey species. Then they'll learn something new today, Webb said from the doorway. They'll learn that we're not prey anymore. Morrison was quiet for another minute. Then he nodded slowly. I will help you. But not because I want to, because I am curious to see what happens when the council realizes what you have become. The transmission took 2 hours to prepare. Morrison had to provide access codes and encryption keys. Dr. Rodriguez had to modify the transmitter to work with alien technology. But finally, they were ready. Sarah stood in front of the transmitter's camera. Behind her, Morrison sat in his chair, still tied up with the sonic cables. Webb and his team stood guard. Council of Species, Sarah began. This is Ambassador Sarah. Chun of Earth. We know about the silent harvest. We know about the Voidwalkers. We know that you have been murdering our people for 800 years. She held up the alien device. We have your technology. We have your commander. And we have something else. We have 50,000 humans who have been waiting across the galaxy for this moment. Morrison spoke from behind her. The humans speak truth, Council. They have become unpredictable. The harvest has failed, Sarah continued. We don't want war, but we will not allow you to kill our people anymore. Earth and all human colonies are now under our protection. Any alien vessel that enters our space without permission will be destroyed. She stepped closer to the camera. You created this problem when you decided to hunt us in secret. Now you get to deal with the consequences. The transmission ended. Now they had to wait for the Council's response. It came 3 days later. Not as a message, but as action. Radar stations around the world detected them first. 12 massive ships each, one the size of a city, entering Earth's solar system. The Galactic Council had made their decision. President Martinez called Sarah immediately. They're coming. 12 battlecruisers, armed with weapons we can't even understand. How long do we have? Sarah asked. 4 days, maybe 5. Sarah looked. At the alien device, new information was flowing into it. Messages from humans across the galaxy. Ships were launching from 23 different worlds. Her people were coming home. But would they arrive in time? Sir, Sarah said to the president, I need you to authorize something that's going to sound crazy. At this point, Chun, crazy is all we have left. I need permission to wake up every scientist, engineer, and military expert on the planet. And I need them to start building ships. Fast. The president was quiet for a moment. What kind of ships? Sarah smiled, even though she was scared. The kind that can fight gods. The world changed in 4 days. Every factory, every shipyard, every research center on Earth was working around the clock. Dr. Rodriguez had used the alien device to download construction plans for spacecraft that humans had never seen before. Ships that could travel faster than light. Ships that could fight the Council's massive battlecruisers, in the Nevada desert. What used to be an Air Force testing ground was now a construction site bigger than any city. Thousands of workers assembled the first human warship. They called it the Defiance. Sarah stood on the observation deck, watching sparks fly as welders attached the last pieces of armor plating. The ship was beautiful and terrible at the same time. It was twice the size of the largest aircraft carrier, but it was shaped like a sword pointing toward the stars. Will it work? President Martinez asked. He had come to see the ship before the battle began. Dr. Rodriguez says it will, Sarah replied. We've combined human engineering with alien technology. The result is something neither side has seen before. Below them, Captain Webb was training the ship's crew. Most of them were military pilots, but some were civilians who had volunteered to fight. They all knew this might be a one-way trip. The ship's main weapon was Dr. Rodriguez's greatest invention. She called it a quantum disruptor. It could break apart matter at the atomic level. One shot could destroy a ship the size of a city. But they only had one ship. The Council was bringing 12. That's when the first message came from space. Not from the Council fleet, but from somewhere else. The voice spoke in English, but with an accent Sarah had never heard before. Earth Defense Force, this is Commander Jackson Cole of the Free Human Fleet. We are approaching your solar system. Do not attack. We are coming home. Sarah ran to the communication center. On the main screen, she could see dots of light approaching from the outer planets. Not 12 ships, not 20, 50 ships, all of different designs, all moving toward Earth. Commander Cole, Sarah spoke into the microphone. This is Ambassador Sarah-chan. We've been waiting for you. The image on the screen changed. A man appeared, older than in the photo they had seen, with gray hair and scars on his face. Behind him, Sarah could see the bridge of a ship filled with humans. Ambassador Chun, we received your message. We've been traveling for 3 days to get here. Cole smiled, and Sarah could see that some of his teeth were made of metal. We brought friends. The next few hours were like a dream. Ship after ship came into view around Earth. Each one was different. Some looked like alien vessels that had been modified with human technology. Others were completely new designs that looked like nothing Sarah had ever seen. Commander Cole's ship, the Liberty, was the largest. It had been built from pieces of a dozen different alien ships. Its hull was covered with weapons from 100 different worlds. Captain Maria Santos arrived next in a ship she called Venganza. She had been fighting aliens for almost a century. Her crew was made up of humans from 12 different planets, all of them ready for war. But the most impressive ship belonged to a woman named Admiral Lisa Park. Her vessel, the Prometheus, was completely human in design, but used technology that was centuries ahead of anything on Earth. She had been working with captured alien scientists for 50 years, forcing them to teach her their secrets. How many ships do we have? Sarah asked as the reports came in. 63, Cole replied over the communication system. And about 15,000 crew members, all human, all angry. Angry? We've been slaves, prisoners, and rebels for centuries, Santos added, her voice hard as steel. The Council took us from our families, our homes, our lives. Today we take everything back. The Council fleet was still 2 days away, but they were sending messages. Demands for Earth to surrender. Threats of complete destruction. The usual alien diplomatic approach. President Martinez had a different response. He authorized the broadcast of a message to every television, radio, and internet connection on Earth. He wanted every human to know what was happening. People of Earth, the president began, in 2 days, 12 alien ships will arrive to destroy our world. They believe we are weak. They believe we will surrender without a fight. They are wrong. The message continued for 10 minutes. He told the world about the silent harvest, about the murders, about the humans who had been taken and enslaved, and about the fleet that had come home to help them fight. We are not alone. In the universe, he concluded, we are not weak, and we are not afraid. Tomorrow we show the galaxy what humanity can do when we fight together. The preparations continued through the night. Dr. Rodriguez worked with the alien prisoners, forcing them to reveal the weaknesses in Council ship designs. She learned that their shields could be overloaded with certain frequencies. She learned that their weapons had a limited range. Most importantly, she learned that they had never fought humans who knew how to fight back. Commander Morrison, still tied up with sonic cables, watched the preparations with growing alarm. "You do not understand," he told Sarah during her final visit to his cell. "The Council fleet is not just 12 ships. Each ship carries 10,000 warriors, advanced fighters, weapons that can crack planets." "But they've never fought us before," Sarah replied. "They've only fought slaves and prey animals. We're something new." Morrison shook his head. "You are brave, but bravery will not stop plasma cannons that can melt mountains." "Maybe not, Sarah." "Agreed. But it's not just bravery we're bringing to this fight." She showed him a tablet with the final battle plan. Morrison's glowing eyes widened as he read. "This is ... impossible," he whispered. "Humans do not think this way. This is not how wars are fought." "Exactly," Sarah said. "That's why it's going to work." The Council fleet arrived exactly when predicted. 12 massive ships, each one dark and menacing against the stars. They positioned themselves around Earth like the points of a clock. Admiral Takara, commander of the Council fleet, sent a final message to Earth. "Humans of the third planet, you have interfered with Council operations. You have captured a Council commander. You have threatened Council authority. For these crimes, your species will be eliminated. You have 1 hour to consider surrender." The response came not from Earth, but from Commander Cole aboard the Liberty. "Admiral Takara, this is Commander Jackson Cole of the Free Human Fleet. We have a counteroffer. Leave our solar system immediately, and we might let some of you live." The alien admiral's response was to open fire. Bright beams of energy shot down from the Council ships toward Earth's major cities. But the beams never reached their targets. They hit invisible barriers in space and scattered like light through a prism. Dr. Rodriguez had spent the last 4 days placing quantum shield generators around Earth. The shields were powered by the planet's magnetic field and could stop anything the aliens could throw at them. "Now," Sarah said into her communicator, "the human fleet attacked from every direction at once. They had been hiding behind the moon, behind asteroids, inside Earth's magnetic field. The Council ships found themselves surrounded by angry humans. With advanced weapons and nothing to lose, the Liberty fired first. Its main gun, built from salvaged Council technology, punched a hole through the shields of the nearest alien ship. The ship began to break apart, atmosphere venting into space. The Venganza and 3 other ships concentrated their fire on a second Council vessel. Captain Santos had learned to target the alien ship's weak points. Her weapons hit the enemy ships power core, causing it to explode in a flash of light that could be seen from Earth. But the real surprise was the Defiance. Captain Webb brought Earth's only warship up from behind the moon, its quantum disruptor fully charged. "For every human you killed," Webb said over the open communication channel, "for every life you stole, for every dream you destroyed, ... The quantum disruptor fired. The beam hit the Council flagship dead center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire ship simply stopped existing. 1 second it was there. The next second there was empty space. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it was over, 8 of the 12 Council ships were destroyed. The other 4 were badly damaged and trying to escape. But Admiral Takara's ship, damaged but still functional, managed to send one final message before jumping to faster than light. Speed. Council of Species. The alien admiral's voice was filled with fear and disbelief. The humans are not what we thought. They fight like ... like demons. They use our own weapons against us. They work together in ways we do not understand. Recommend. Immediate evacuation of all Council space near human territories. The message was broadcast across the galaxy. Every species in the Council heard it. The humans were no longer prey. As the surviving alien ships disappeared into space, the human fleet gathered around Earth. Ships from 23 different worlds, all crewed by humans who had been separated from home for centuries. Sarah stood on the bridge of the Defiance, looking out at the fleet. These were her people, humans who had survived slavery, imprisonment, and worse. Humans who had never given up hope of coming home. Commander Cole's voice came over the communication system. Ambassador Chun, what are your orders? Sarah thought about everything that had happened. The murders, the lies, the centuries of secret control. The Council thought they could cage humanity and harvest them like crops. The human fleet traveled for 6 days to reach the Council's home system. 63 ships carrying 15,000 humans who had been waiting centuries for this moment. Sarah stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the stars streak past as they moved faster than light. We're approaching Nexus Prime, Commander Cole announced over the fleet communication system. All ships, prepare for whatever we find. Nexus Prime was the capital world of the Galactic Council. It orbited a bright blue star and was surrounded by massive space stations that looked like metal cities. Ships from dozens of different alien species moved between the stations like insects around a hive. But as the human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel, something was wrong. The alien ships were all moving away from the planet. They were running. This is Admiral Takara, came a familiar voice over the emergency channels. All Council vessels evacuate immediately. The humans have arrived. Sarah smiled grimly. The alien admiral who had tried to destroy Earth was now warning others to flee from humanity. Open a channel to the planet, Sarah ordered. The main screen on the Defiance showed the surface of Nexus Prime. It was a beautiful world with blue oceans and white clouds. Cities covered the continents, connected by bridges that stretched across the sky. This was where the Council made their decisions, where they had planned the silent harvest, where they had decided to murder humans for 800 years. Council of Species, Sarah spoke into the communicator. This is Ambassador Sarah Chun of the Human Alliance. We are here to deliver Earth's final warning. The response came from a creature that looked like a giant spider made of crystal. Ambassador Chun, I am Speaker Valtar of the Council. You have committed acts of war against peaceful Council vessels. Peaceful? Captain Santos cut in from her ship. Was it peaceful when you murdered my parents in 1923? Was it peaceful when you enslaved me for 90 years? More voices joined in from across the human fleet. Stories of families destroyed, lives stolen, decades of slavery and imprisonment. The Council had created an army of very angry humans, and now that army was at their doorstep. Speaker Veltar's voice became nervous. The past cannot be changed, but we can negotiate. The Council is willing to discuss terms. Terms? Sarah laughed, but there was no humor in it. The only terms are these. You will return every human you have taken. You will pay compensation for the families you destroyed, and you will stay away from Earth and all human space. Impossible. The Council does not negotiate with inferior species. That's when Admiral Parks spoke up from the Prometheus. Then maybe it's time for a new Council. The battle for Nexus Prime was different from the fight at Earth. Here, the humans were the attackers. They moved through the Council's defenses like a storm, destroying weapons platforms and military stations, while being careful not to harm civilian areas. The Council had hundreds of ships defending their homeworld, but they were not prepared for human tactics. The aliens fought in formations, following rules and patterns they had used for thousands of years. The humans fought like humans. They were unpredictable, creative, and absolutely ruthless when they needed to be. Commander Cole's Liberty led a group of ships in a direct attack on the main defense station. While the alien defenders focused on that threat, Captain Santos brought her fighters around from the opposite direction. The aliens never saw them coming. Dr. Rodriguez had modified the human weapons during the journey. Now their quantum disruptors could be fired in rapid bursts instead of single shots. The effect was devastating. Alien ships that had seemed invincible dissolved like smoke. But the real breakthrough came when the humans captured one of the Council's communication arrays. Dr. Rodriguez plugged the alien device into the array and began broadcasting across the entire galaxy. Every species in Council space suddenly had access to the truth, the real history of the silent harvest, the murder of innocent humans, the centuries of lies and control. Some species were horrified. Others were angry that they had been lied to. A few were scared that they might be next. On Nexus Prime, riots began in the alien cities. Species that had been controlled by the Council for thousands of years saw their chance for freedom. The Council's authority was crumbling as their own. People turned against them. Speaker Veltar sent a final desperate message to the human fleet. Stop this madness. You are destroying the order that has kept the galaxy peaceful for millennia. Sarah's response was broadcast to every world in Council space. Your order was built on murder and slavery. Your peace was built on fear. We're offering something better. Freedom. The battle lasted only 2 hours. When it was over, the Council's military was destroyed. Their government was in ruins, and dozens of alien species were declaring independence from Council rule. Sarah led a small team down to the planet's surface. They walked through the crystal spires of the Council's great city to the building where the galaxy had been ruled for thousands of years. The Council chamber was enormous, with seats arranged in circles going up toward the ceiling. 12 different species had ruled here, making decisions that affected trillions of lives across the galaxy. Only 3 of them were left. The others had fled when the human ships arrived. Speaker Veltar sat in the center chair, her crystal body cracked and dim. Beside her were 2 other aliens Sarah didn't recognize. They all looked defeated. What do you want? Veltar asked. Justice, Sarah replied. For 800 years you hunted my people. You killed our brightest minds. You stole our children. You tried to keep us weak and primitive. We were protecting the galaxy. One of the other aliens said. Humans are dangerous, unpredictable. You proved that today. We are dangerous, Sarah agreed. But only to those who threaten us. We could have destroyed your cities. We could have killed millions of your people. But we didn't. Do you know why? The aliens said nothing. Because we're better than you. We protect the innocent. We fight for freedom. We don't murder children in the dark. Captain Webb entered the chamber with Commander Morrison. The Voidwalker was still tied up with sonic cables. But his expression had changed. He no longer looked arrogant. He looked ashamed. Morrison has something to tell you, Webb announced. The captured Voidwalker looked at his former leaders. The humans could have killed me. They could have tortured me for information. Instead, they treated me with more dignity than we ever showed their people. Traitor, Veltar hissed. No, Morrison replied. I was a traitor when I helped murder innocent humans. I'm trying to find redemption now. Sarah walked to the center of the chamber and activated a holographic projector. Images appeared in the air above them. Ships from dozens of different species arriving at Nexus Prime. But these weren't Council ships. These were vessels from the species that had declared independence. The galaxy is changing, Sarah announced. The Council's reign of fear is over. A new alliance is forming. One based on cooperation instead of control, freedom instead of slavery. More images appeared. Human ships working alongside alien vessels to rebuild damaged worlds. Former council slaves learning to govern themselves. Species that had been enemies for centuries working together. You have a choice, Sarah continued. Join the new alliance as equals or be left behind as history. Speaker Valtar's crystal body began to glow brighter. And if we refuse? Then you'll discover what it feels like to be isolated and alone in the galaxy. To have no one to trade with, no one to talk to, no one to help when you need it. Sarah's voice was cold as space. Ask humanity how that feels. We survived it for 800 years. The negotiations took 3 days. In the end, the remaining council members agreed to dissolve their government and join the new Galactic Alliance. They would return all human prisoners. They would pay compensation to the families of murdered humans. And they would submit to human oversight for 50 years to ensure they kept their promises. But the most important agreement was the simplest. 1. Earth and all human colonies were declared forbidden to any species that did not have explicit permission to visit. Humanity would control who entered their space and when. Never again would aliens be able to hunt humans in secret. 6 months later, Sarah stood in the same Geneva building where she had first met Vex Star. But now the building was the headquarters of the Human Defense Force. Ships from across the galaxy came here to meet with human representatives. Dr. Rodriguez had completed her greatest project. A sensor array that could detect any alien presence in human space from millions of miles away. No one would ever again be able to sneak onto human worlds. The galaxy had learned to respect humanity. Some species feared them. Others admired them. But all of them understood that humans were no longer prey. Commander Cole knocked on Sarah's office door. Ambassador, we're receiving a transmission from the outer edge of the galaxy. It's interesting. Sarah followed him to the communication center. On the main screen was an alien unlike any they had seen before. It was tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to be made of liquid starlight. Greetings, humans of Earth, the being said. I am Keeper Zhao Dhara of the Eternal Collective. We have been watching your recent ... activities ... with great interest. Who are you? Sarah asked. We are what you might call the previous management. We ruled the